Hi, everybody. Craig Shacklett here with the Casino Business Podcast. I've got a very special guest, probably finally relaxed after a stressful time leading up to G2E. We got Korbi Carrison, the event vice president with G2E. Korbi, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here, Craig. Thank you.
Now, maybe we can start by just telling us how long you've been with G2E.
I'd be happy to. I've been producing the G2E show for the last 8 years, and it's been quite a ride over the last 8 years. We started from a very land-based gaming focused event, evolved through the overturning of PASPA, and included after that a lot more sports betting content into iGaming. Went through a pandemic, so it's been a lot of fun and a lot of growth. And I've been involved with G2E in one way or another since the inception 25 years ago.
Wow, so there was not an industry trade show for the gaming industry until 25 years ago. I would have thought it would have been around a lot longer.
There was an industry trade show in the past, and it was a good show, but it was produced by a media company. So AGA took note of that and felt like there should be something that benefited the industry. And so they came to Reed Exhibitions, the company that I work for, 26 years ago and said, hey, we want to put together an industry event that is by the industry and for the industry. So at that point, our two entities came together and created G2E, and now it's really something that is highly driven by American Gaming Association and really produced for the industry's benefit.
Now, at the beginning, I mean, was the AGA, was that as ubiquitous and big back then? Was pretty much all casinos associated with it? Or when they decided to start G2E, was it kind of like it was a growth opportunity for both of us? Like they still had some membership to, people they want to add on to AGA. Maybe you could give us, kind of set the scene back then.
Sure. So the AGA did look very different then. It was different leadership, and the industry has evolved just across all aspects that you can imagine. So AGA has evolved along with that as well. It was highly focused on operators and suppliers, and I think that there's been a lot of growth there as well.
Nice. So at the beginning, I'd imagine like the hardest part of starting a trade show, I imagine, is just getting that critical mass to make it interesting. So if you don't have enough people there, then sponsors don't want to pay, exhibitors don't want to pay. And if you don't have people paying, then you can't really put on a good show. So, I mean, what was that beginning like for you guys?
The beginning really was very driven for the industry, by the industry. So there have been events around before, and they were very focused on the benefits to that particular company that produced it. In this case, with AGA being a partner in G2E, that benefit goes directly back into the industry, and it covers AGA's good work that they do for the advancement of the industry and the protection of the industry in the United States.
And so as it's developed, obviously it's grown. Now it's the preeminent gaming event, nationally, probably internationally as well. I've heard ICE is big too, but I mean, I think anybody working in the US market is going to be a G2E. How do you measure success from year to year? Is it growth in attendance? Is it, how do you look at that, whether it's a successful show or we need to do better next year?
Well, it's definitely a combination of metrics. And it's also how are we doing in history? And this year with the 25th anniversary, it certainly did highlight, hey, G2E has been a very important event in the gaming ecosystem for a really long time. One thing that we do every single year is send out post-show surveys to all of our attendees and also all of our exhibitors. And we do have some key metrics that we keep track of year over year. Number one being NPS, Net Promoter Score. So we look at how likely people are to have positive feelings about G2E versus negative and everything in between. We also measure satisfaction, And loyalty. How satisfied are you, whether you're an attendee or an exhibitor, and how likely are you to come back again next year? So we really pay close attention to those and all the commentary in the post-show surveys. We learn so much about, this is an area that I didn't really care for, or we need more of this. So certainly those markers are all really important in determining how we move forward. We listen to all of those comments, and we do like to keep track of our attendees year over year, a number of exhibitors year over year. But we keep in mind with all of those things that we're really measuring the quality of the event, not necessarily the quantity. And you're right, Craig, when you said G2E is absolutely an important event in the North American ecosystem. It is important globally. There are other events that are important globally as well, but we believe that G2E is the place that you need to be. It's the place that anyone who is doing business globally is going to be at G2E, and that's a success measure too.
Absolutely. Now, I've been to several G2Es, and it seems like some years, like looking back, I remember the skill-based gaming was like the buzz, and other year, AI, I guess this year was a buzz. What from your perspective, what was this year's kind of, oh, this is the hot topic? And then are there any other from maybe previous years where you're like, oh yeah, I remember when this exploded? Because yeah, for me, it's like they're always great, but some just have like, whoa, this is different this year than last year.
That's part of the magic of G2E. We evolved the show to highlight what's going on in the industry. And you're right, there was that turning point in 2018 with the overturning of PASPA, where suddenly the landscape of everything happening at G2E was very different. So certainly a data point there. On from there, iGaming and online casino really took on a different point of view in the North American landscape as well. And of course, it is well established other places in the world. But those data points are really things that we look at on, we need to make sure that G2E is keeping up with the trends. And yeah, we incorporate a lot of the discussion about those trends into our education program. G2E needs to be the place where those topics are discussed and where discussion is shared. So that's a real focus for G2E. Certainly, we did see a lot of discussion around AI this year. We were asked for more discussion around iGaming. So those are things that we will take into consideration as we get planning for next year.
And I imagine a lot of next year's shows determined, like you said, by the feedback you get, and you pay close attention to exhibitors and participants, what they're saying. Do you take pulse checks throughout the year as well? Because obviously, I imagine next year's show is already starting to get planned, but how much are you pivoting as the year goes on to decide what's going to be in the 2026 show?
You're right. We do pulse checks all along the way. And certainly with the AGA being our partner in the show, they are having these discussions every single day. We together go to a lot of other gaming events. We talk to people every day, and we keep an eye on what's going on in the industry. But probably the most important thing that we do to make sure G2E is relevant is that we put out a call for content and speakers. And we do that in February. So February of 26, everyone who has had anything to do with G2E will receive an email and say, hey, it's time. If you want to suggest a topic, if you think that or maybe you are a speaker who should be part of the program, that is the time to identify what those topics or speakers should be. And it all gets data collected, analyzed by our education advisory board, and then we create the program content out of that. So it seems like the February-March timeframe is kind of early to be working on content for October, but things do change, and we do have the ability to rotate a little bit and course correct if we need to. But a lot of the topics that we're seeing are, hey, here's what happened in 25 and here's how it's evolving in 26. Here's what you need to do to move your business forward. So we constantly have evolution, and we have that major checkpoint in our process.
Now with a huge event like this, actually, maybe can you share some numbers on like how big is this event? Just for people that, everyone's heard of G2E, I think, but like, yeah, how many people are coming through? How many square foot it? Like, what are some stats that you can share with us?
Sure. We put out all of those stats in our post show press release. So we're right around 25,000 industry professionals coming to do business at G2E. And that's been a pretty consistent number for the last several years post pandemic. So we're very proud of that. We hear that it's a great crowd of highly respected people, and they're coming to do business at G2E. So size-wise, in the Expo Hall, we're right around 265,000 square feet, which is also pretty consistent with where we've been in the past. So we are seeing consistency, we're seeing quality, and that's probably the most important marker, especially as we went through our 25th anniversary this year. And we did see a lot of great commentary on G2E has evolved with the times, and it's where we need to be in order to do our business.
Yeah, it's a can't miss event for sure. Now, you running such a large event, there's so many moving pieces. Do you have a favorite part of your job? Is there a specific aspect that you really look forward to every year?
Well, there are a lot of aspects involved, that's for sure, but definitely my favorite part is just the people, connecting with people, connecting people together. Seeing people that you might only see once or twice a year is definitely the highlight for me. And it really is exciting for me when I can meet someone and connect them with someone else in order to move their businesses forward. After all, that's what G2E is for. It's for moving everyone's business forward, and that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. And I imagine, again, with a group this big, 25,000 people, tons of vendors, sometimes you're stepping in between. I shouldn't say stepping in between, but there's rivals that, there's friendly rivalries, there's not so friendly rivalries. And I imagine sometimes you have to play the diplomat with all these different factions in the same place.
What we do is we create an environment for business to get done. And it's not the place of any show organizer to get in the middle of what may be happening between any exhibitors. So that's something that's really between them. And if it does happen at all, we're the ones who create the environment. We make it hospitable. We make sure that things are fair. For example, it's not right for people to take unauthorized photo or video of someone else's intellectual property. That's definitely something that we hear a lot of every year. It's something we address. It's part of our rules and regulations that you can't do those things without having permission of the owner of the IP. So that's where it's our position to really have those protections in place for all of our exhibitors.
Makes sense. Now, you just completed 25 years. How do you see the show changing over the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question. And I would have to look forward and say, what do we expect from the industry evolution in the next 5 to 10 years? So we have some ideas on where we would like the show to grow, but those ideas really don't matter if that's not the direction that the industry is going. So it's important to keep that pulse check going constantly, and then G2E will evolve in the same way that the industry does.
So I got a lot of time to walk the floor, and there's so many cool exhibitors. But one thing I noticed this year that I thought was super cool and always had a buzz around it was the dealer championships this year. So I didn't get a chance to stick around to the end to see who won, but how did it turn out from your perspective? And yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of activations and making the floor interesting in general?
Well, I think, really had a successful event with activations this year, in particular, the iGaming Hub and also the G2E Dealer Championship. I mean, that was definitely a true highlight of this year's show. And that came from inspiration from our friends in Europe that have the European Dealer Championship each year. We borrowed the concept. They helped us out a lot on the execution of it, on the planning, where we ended up having 34 competitors from 34 different casinos across the United States. They competed in blackjack and roulette across all 3 days of the show, and we came out with one winner, and it was a person from Grayton Resort and Casino in Northern California. So we had that tribal casino representation, and we couldn't be happier with the participation this year. Definitely moving forward with G2E Championship next year. So we'll have to see how that all plays out for next year and the future.
You could tell that the executive management of each of these properties took it really seriously. Because when I walked by, you'd see the dealers, but then you'd see titles like EVP of tail. You know, it was the top dogs that were there, and they're kind of coaching the dealers on. So I thought that was pretty cool too, that you had such buy-in from the executive leadership that wanted to see their dealers win.
Definitely a lot of support from the enterprises and the operations. It was really interesting though, when you're speaking with all of those participants and their supporters, how many of their management teams started in table games, dealt different table games for many years, and really wanted to support their team members in their growth and the showcasing of their skills. Because in so many operations, the dealers, the table games are really the heartbeat of the operation. It's the personality that keeps people engaged and coming back from a player perspective. So we're just really thrilled to be able to showcase that at G2E and look forward to growing that in the future.
I love it. And I love that about our industry. There's so many executives that's, like you said, started that way. It's like In-N-Out Burger. I guess everybody starts out as a fry cook, you know, like flipping burgers, and then they're leading stores and they're leading big organizations. And I think, you know, our business, the casino industry, is similar in that so many people come in as a valet guy or a dealer or whatever, and they work their way up. So it is inspiring to see that.
It is. It's true. It's an industry of people who are very passionate about what they do and very loyal.
Obviously, AGA represents a lot of, you know, the gaming industry's interests, you know, in Washington, making sure that things are going, you know, well for all of us in the industry. Are there many like politicians that come to G2E to like see what's going on, or is that AGA's activities mainly out there and there's not many politicians that come through? I'm just curious.
It's not necessarily that they are politicians per se. We do have elected officials coming to G2E, but we see a lot of the regulators coming to G2E. They participate not only in the Expo Hall, but a lot in the education program. There's tons of content for the regulators. Things are always changing. There are things that they need to learn, they need to keep up on. There are several of the sessions that offer continuing legal education credits. So we do see a lot of regulators and attorneys, investors coming to G2E.
I'm sure after listening to this, everybody's going to want to book their flights and their hotel rooms for G2E next year. What are the dates for 2026 G2E?
We will be back at the Venetian next year. Very excited to be back at our home there. And watch your emails, watch the website, because we will be starting education on Monday, September 28th. And the Expo Hall will be open September 29th, 30th, and October 1st of 2026.
All right. And where should people go to book their tickets and to learn more about G2E?
Always watch our website, globalgamingexpo.com. That will always have the most up-to-date information. We expect registration to go live in the June timeframe, but make sure you also watch for that call for content and speakers in late February.
Well, Korbi Carrison, thank you so much for being here. I learned a ton. I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are.
All right. Thank you. Happy to be here.